If you've ever been frustrated by how much time you spend binge watching Netflix, scrolling on social media, or checking email at 11 p.m., then you're not alone, and this video is for you. I'm going to be sharing with you 5 signs that your digital life is not serving you, and I want you to more importantly understand that it's not your fault and there are things you can do about it. If we've never met before, hi, I'm Jessica. I've been a digital minimalist for the past 6 years, and I have been a life coach for the past 5. I'm an internal family systems practitioner, an International Coaching Federation accredited coach, and I love helping people figure out how to make their life more fulfilling and rich in whatever way makes sense to them. I take a very holistic, whole life approach, and I have gotten really interested in digital life most recently because when I got pregnant and when I had my child, I noticed how much screens were impacting me and my very young kid. And I want everyone to figure out the best boundaries to make their digital life work for them, not against them. Without further ado, let's jump in and make sure to stick around to the end because number 5 might surprise you. So let's get started with number 1. You keep trying the same fix, expecting it to work, and it doesn't. I've definitely been there, and the example that sticks out in my mind was when I used to try to delete my Facebook account, and I would type out these elaborate messages saying that I was deleting Facebook, and then I would never leave. It was a really frustrating and embarrassing cycle. If this is happening to you, then don't feel bad about it. There's tons of people who have tried strategies that digital experts swear by, and they just don't work for them. In a recent article called A Tale of Two Email Inboxes, I shared 2 of my clients' stories who have wildly different strategies when it comes to their email inboxes, and yet they're both very happy with their digital lives and how those look, and they work for them. So I want to encourage you that you don't have to do things that the experts are telling you. You can do the exact opposite or something a little bit tweaked to your own needs because that's really what matters at the end of the day. It's not what the experts say, it's what works for you in your life. And there might be one area of your digital life that's a real trouble spot that doesn't even bother somebody else. So I want you to think about that critically and figure out what are my actual problem areas? What have I been told to do? And what would actually be helpful? If you start thinking through that, it can make a big difference in creating the digital boundaries that are going to work for you. I'll leave that article linked below. Number 2, you complain constantly about your screen time. There's actually this really interesting phenomena where people who talk about their goals are less likely to achieve them than people who keep their goals to themselves and just get to it and get working. There's a certain amount of reward that we get by talking about what we want to do that makes us feel good without actually taking any of the action to make that happen. So when we complain about our screen time or how much time we're spending on a device, we are making ourselves feel good by being validated by others, saying we're going to do something about it, and then we don't actually have to do anything to feel good. So it can create this really vicious cycle where we feel really frustrated, we share it, someone validates how we feel, and then we feel a little better, so we don't do anything. And so if you find yourself complaining and not doing anything, I've totally been there. I think most people have. And there's a different way to approach it that can help you move forward. And that is deciding what you want to do, trying it out as an experiment, and not telling anyone until you have a result. If that feels really challenging, then you can definitely talk to me, and I would love to help you with that. Sign number 3 is that your goals are gathering dust while you scroll. This is such a common one and can be really harmful. Maybe you've had a dream since you were a kid, like I did, to be a published author. You want to learn a new language. You want to learn how to crochet or start a business. And you set aside the time. You know exactly what you need to do. And then a couple extra episodes later, that time is gone. Or you spend a little too long with your favorite YouTubers. And I really don't want that to happen to you. And I also want you to know that you are not alone. I definitely had that happen to me. And it can be so soul crushing because you can see yourself doing it and yet feel like you're powerless to stop because maybe you feel exhausted at the end of the day. But really, these devices have been created to have less resistance to use them. There's a reason that Netflix made it so that next episodes autoplay, and YouTube's also done this, and why Instagram and Facebook and all the other ones are designed like slot machines because it gives us a reward to use them. It makes it seamless to keep going since there's no end to the scroll. You can scroll endlessly. And the things that we really want to do are then too hard because all of that energy gets sucked into the device. We got reward for doing it. And then these other things seem way too hard. And that is a challenging cycle to break, but it's so worth it because in the moment, being on devices too much can feel good because we're forgetting about the things we really want to do with our life, but that can compound into hopelessness, feeling really worthless and crappy about ourselves. And over time, that can lead to some very serious mental health conditions and just general life dissatisfaction that feel really good in the moment because they're designed to, but they don't add to our life's purpose. Number four is feeling helpless, purposeless, or defeated. This goes back to the last sign a little bit. If you see yourself having a goal and not achieving it over and over and over again, it can create this deep well of unworthiness, of frustration, and start creating a story that you're not someone who does what you say you're going to do. And that's really unfortunate since, like I've talked about, devices are designed to be addictive, even if you're not someone with an addictive personality. And that is very frustrating when we make it something about us instead of seeing that it's the technology that's doing it to us, not a character flaw. Since you're here, you're probably someone who wants to be a better citizen. Maybe you care about building community. You want to be aligned with your values. You want to have better relationships and productivity. You're someone who wants to be the best version of yourself. And these things make it harder for us to do it. So these devices can really hit people like us the most. And I want you to know that so that you know that you're not the only one. Number five, you dread opening certain apps, but you can't bring yourself to stop. And it may feel terrible every time you do this, but just know that seeing it is the first step towards changing it. And you're so much closer than you think to making a difference in your life because you can't change something without an awareness that there's a problem. Knowing that it's there is perfect for taking the next step. It's building that momentum towards figuring out, okay, I know what's not working and I know what's not helping me. And then taking the time to figure out what will help you to break that habit is just going to take a little bit of time, curiosity, and effort. And one little mini tip that I want to give right here is to get even more curious about how you feel when you're opening that app that you dread. What does dread feel like in your body? What thoughts are you having when you're feeling that dread? And just get really curious about the experience. Does it get worse the longer you're on that app? Is it the initial opening it that feels terrible? Does it feel the worst at the last 5 to 10 minutes that you're on the app until finally it pulls you out? Just get really curious. Mindfulness is a really easy way to break habits. Just by seeing how much it's actually bothering you can be a great deterrent. So, just a little sprinkle right there. Now that I've shared the five signs with you, I want to drive home that there's nothing wrong with you if you're experiencing these five signs. They're completely common and happen to most of us, and that's why I shared them. I don't want you to think that you're weak or addicted or somehow broken for having these signs show up in your life. It's actually a really human experience. And now that you see that these things are happening, you have the first step towards changing them, like I talked about in step 5, and that little sprinkle of wisdom I gave you about being mindful and really leaning into those negative emotions and getting curious about them can really help you to change those habits. It's not us. There's a reason that these companies are keeping their children until 14 or 15 or 16 away from devices because they know the effects. They've seen the data, they know what happens. We may not be able to control the companies, but we do have some things that we can do to create friction, to change our mindset, to create momentum into creating better habits and doing the things that are most aligned with what we really want to do. And I'm not going to say that it's easy, but it's so worth it and rewarding. My goal with these videos is to help you take small, intentional steps towards what you want that feel manageable, doable, and that can be customized to your personality, your brain, the way you live. And I really want you to see that you don't have to move to an off-grid cabin in Michigan. You don't have to get a dumb phone if you don't want to. You don't have to delete all your social media accounts unless you want to. You get to decide what suits you, what suits the lifestyle you really want to have, and I am here to support it. If you'd like some more support, then take the 2-minute digital quiz down below. It's going to tell you where you are on the spectrum from digitally overwhelmed to digital optimizer. And I'm going to send you personalized tips based on your exact answers to the quiz so that you can start taking the steps that are going to serve you and your goals in your life. And you can always reply to that email and we can have a back and forth to help you go even deeper. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and take care. Bye.